Welcome back to the news at 10. 50 people have now been confirmed displaced after Monday's fire incident that affected about 3 houses on Obiosa Street in Ijesha area of Lagos State. Confirming this to Channels Television in Lagos, the General Manager of the state's Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Femi Osoyintolu, said the state government would leave its relief camp in Agbowa open until January the 15th. It will be recalled that some of the victims had expressed unwillingness to go to the relief camp out of fear of being abandoned.
Monday, the 30th of December 2013, would not easily be forgotten by residents of number 34 and 36 Obiosa Street in the Ijesha area of Lagos State, which were engulfed by fire. The carnage spared nothing on its part, and some were able to salvage the little they could. The worth of property destroyed is yet to be ascertained, but government has thrown its doors open to help the victims.
His Excellency, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, has directed that we should open Agbowa relief camp for those people that are displaced.
It's been 5 days since the fire incident on Obiosa Street in the Ijesha area of Lagos State, and right now we are at the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency relief camp in Agbowa area of the state. We understand that none of the victims have reported here. We also understand that the camp commandant, Mr. Wewe Ganyu, is currently in the city center trying to finalize logistics and mobilization for these displaced persons to be brought to this place. Earlier, some of those who spoke to us at the scene of the fire had said that they didn't want to come to this relief camp because of the distance and the fear of neglect.
I cannot go to Agbowa. I work here in Surulere. So it will be difficult for me to be coming from Agbowa, which is almost at Ijebode, to this side every day to come and work. It's not possible.
Taking us to that Agbowa is just like they are taking us to the place to suffer.
Government is also assuring those victims who may not have alternatives of standard care at its relief camp.
Really, you will discover that those people that are severely affected are the people that are going to come with us to the relief camp, which means those people that they don't have places to go, those are the people that really we are expecting at the relief camp. But we realize that this time around is a festival period, and they might want to enjoy or celebrate their festival at that area. So by January 15, if there is nobody for us to evacuate, then we will inform the governor about the situation of things. Then he might direct that we should close up the camp.
Another visit to the scene of the fire showed that the affected buildings have been cordoned off and marked unfit to remain standing. As government plans to make good its promises, some of the residents are however hoping that it reconsiders its position and allow them weather the storm in rooms not affected by the fire. Henry Ogunjimi reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, after prolonged clashes, peace is gradually returning to Umuonla, an agrarian community in Ikorodu local government area of Lagos State. For over 5 years, the residents had lived in fear of attacks by hoodlums alleged to have been sponsored to unleash mayhem on them for land ownership. Our correspondent, Kelvin Obitin, revisited the community and now reports.
Shattered windows, broken doors and roofs are sad reminders of the series of attacks meted on a Umuonla community for several years. There are different stories regarding the actual cause of the clashes, but all point to land dispute.
Initially, Ifegwa family of Umuonla village, this community is made up of 3 branches, 3 major branches. That is how we met it. Now, the 4th branch now, they are not members of the family, they are Odufes of family. They took us to Alagbon in Ikoyi. There we signed a memorandum of undertaking before the policemen there that we will keep peace. Then it was mentioned there that they took us to court and the case was then in court. Then the police officers then told us that we should, those people who took us to court should go back to the court and pursue their case. They left the case unattended to. Then they went for Shade Bashwa. Shade Bashwa, a woman. becoming a land grabber.
The height of the crisis took place in May 2013, leaving at least 3 people dead, including 2 policemen. Women were allegedly kidnapped and raped in the process. Properties were also looted. This house contains 6 rooms. They are all empty as I speak to you. The hoodlums had broken here about 3 years ago and carted away all the household items. The occupants who had fled away are yet to return for fear of another attack.
They broke in this house and all my goods. They carry everything outside, my chair, my table, my set, my wardrobe, my cloth wife, my cloth children. They carry everything out, even my money.
After a recent court judgment on the case which favored the Ifebuwa family, relative peace has been restored, prompting many to return home. Although security personnel still patrol the streets.
No, there's no any wahala, there's any problem at all. Everything is going on. All the women, they sell market, they go farm and do everything. There's no wahala, there's no fighting, there's no any bad thing.
We are living fine, there is nothing happened to anybody.
But the worst of the attacks are still visible around the community. Most of the victims, like Fatima Lawal, are yet to get over it. A 2-room apartment and a shop were completely looted while on the run. Having nowhere to go, she now manages to sleep on the floor with her husband and children. It's just amazing to see the kind of stories that are emanating from this community. And then one begins to wonder, what is the significance of the land in this community? And what is the real reason behind this crisis that has lasted for several years?
Most of the boys, the youth, they are not educated. That is 1. 2, they have no means of livelihood, nothing to depend upon. Then 3 now, there are customers like investors coming in. Some people trying to set up micro agricultural and some other things like that, like fishing, fish pond, this agric poultry, piggery, and so on and so on. You know, it involves a lot of money. They will pay a huge amount of money to purchase the land. So people are interested in the proceed from the sales of this land.
While credit goes to the authorities for salvaging the situation in Imounla, the community is still pleading with the state government to upgrade its infrastructure and help put to use those that lie moribund. Kelvin Obete, Channels Television News.
Reducing maternal mortality involves a whole lot of strategies, and one of these is providing basic information on reproductive health and contraception. Contraception, which is also known as birth control or family planning, has been described as one of the most cost-effective health interventions. Tonight on our Focus on Health, our correspondent Yomi Otaigbe takes a look at how the use of family planning methods can help reduce maternal deaths.
Nigeria, a country of over 160 million people. Procreation does not seem like a significant problem, but one issue that is a huge challenge is the number of women that are lost in the course of childbirth. Of every 100,000 live births, sadly, 545 women die during or after pregnancy and childbirth. Aside from the provision of efficient and effective maternal health services, the important decision of when or when not to have a child must be properly guided, and that's where family planning comes in.
Family planning, by the name, involves spacing of childbearing. And in an individual who wants to space childbearing, depends on how long that child or that individual wants to space the children, and that will determine what mode of contraception that person will be qualified to use, or depending on the medical condition of that individual.
In family planning, several options are available.
We have the Billings method, the natural family planning method, or what you will call the calendar method or rhythm method, which is a method by which you have to understand your body, particularly the woman has to understand her body to know her ovulation time and thereby abstaining from intercourse at about that time such that she cannot get pregnant. But if you don't have a regular cycle and you don't understand your body, the failure rate for that is very, very high. Now, other methods that are used, of course, the barrier system. The barrier can be either in the form of IUCDs, can be in the versus intrauterine devices, in the form of condoms or cervical caps, and in the form of gels. The hormonal methods are either used by pills or injectables or subdermal implants.
Despite these facts, some Nigerians still shy away from family planning services.
Ma, what do you talk about family planning?
I'm very sorry. I don't do family planning. I'm sorry.
I'm going to talk something now. I'm going to say something.
Family planning, I would rather say it is not advisable to go into that because from what I've heard from so many people, it's very dangerous.
African tradition does not even encourage you having a small number of children. So unless you want to tell us that, unless you are saying that we should inculcate that, but it's not the culture as far as African culture is concerned. We are encouraged to have as many children as possible.
If the woman now gets pregnant before she recovers fully, the normal physiological response that's supposed to have taken place in that individual is not restored, and so she gets pregnant again. Of course, pregnancy is not without risks, but it depends on the degree of the risk. The anemia, which is most common there, is not restored. So the blood that is not restored, that means the woman is having a recurrent anemia, and that will not give adequate restoration of the organs like the heart, the kidneys, that needs the blood for them to function very well.
Family planning alone can reduce maternal mortality by at least 15% if it becomes useful. Today, contraceptive prevalence in the world is over 40%. In our country, according to the NDH survey 2008, we are still less than 10%. We live in a country, we live in a world where even family planning is misplaced for promiscuity. We live in a world where women don't want to give where men don't want to give their wives permission to do family planning. So there's a lot of work to do.
It's a bit difficult to say this is the best method for a particular couple, but by the time it is reeled out to them, the various methods of contraception, they have to go back to think about it and choose one. And when you choose and then you try it out, if it goes for you, that is very good. If it does not go for you, then we'll look for the other options, because lots of what is good for you might not be good for the other woman.
Although Nigeria has officially launched the Saving 1 Million Lives Initiative, a scheme to expand access to essential primary healthcare services and basic life-saving commodities, consistent health education is needed so as to empower more Nigerians with the knowledge that will help them take informed decisions, in this instance, on their reproductive health. Yomi Otaibo reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, the federal government has promised it will continue to support the police and other security agencies to enable them discharge their duties effectively. Vice President Nnamdi Sambo, who represented President Goodluck Jonathan at the passing out ceremony of Cadet Assistant Superintendent of Police and Inspectors in Kano State, says that government support is necessary to enable the police and other security agencies tackle all security challenges facing the country efficiently. Vice President Sambo adds that the federal government would also strive to improve the quality and numerical strength of the police and other security agencies, and that in pursuance of this objective, the government recently recruited 9,000 soldiers into the Nigerian army. A total of 577 cadet officers, 335 ASPs and 242 inspectors graduated from the academy today. Let's cross over to our business studios where Adeshawa Josh is standing by with the day's business news.
Well, thanks, Harriet. In business news tonight, the Cross River State Governor, Leo Imoke, is assented to the 2014 appropriation bill of 180.14 billion naira as passed by the State House of Assembly. While receiving the bill from members of the State House of Assembly, Governor Imoke pointed out the need to ensure prompt execution of the bill, which is in favor of capital expenditure. The member representing Boki 2 and Chairman Finance Appropriation Committee in the State House of Assembly, James Aya, indicated an increase in capital receipts with corresponding increase in capital expenditure. Nigerian interbank lending rates were flat at an average of 10.33% on Friday, the same level as last week's close and very near the lowest end of the central bank's corridor around the base rate. Traders say the central bank sold about 340 billion naira worth of open market operations treasury bills to try to counter some of this liquidity and contain the inflationary impact, but the market remained liquid. The open buyback was unchanged at 10.25%, 1.75% lower than the central bank's 12% benchmark rate. Overnight placement was flat at 10.25%, while call money traded at 10.5%, same level last week. Meanwhile, the naira strengthened against the dollar at the interbank on Friday, closing at 158 naira 85 kobo against the greenback. This is firmer than Thursday's close of 158 naira 80 kobo. The naira weakened to 161 naira 20 kobo to the dollar last week, its weakest in 3 months, owing to a surge in dollar demand. Dealers expect the naira to trade within the 158-159 naira band in the near term as more dollar sales from some energy companies in the coming days hit the market. That's business news this hour. Harriet will be back in just a moment.
Thank you, Adeshawa. Next on the news at 10, the top Al-Qaeda commander in Lebanon dies in custody in the Beirut hospital. That's on the international scene. Please stay with us.